Hey everyone, and welcome back. This is a brand new series. I'm super excited about this. Brand new series on my channel called In the Know. The idea being that I want to invite successful, incredible women with their own stories to tell, lots of advice on the fashion industry. So I thought that I would bring guests in. They can tell you all about their careers, their path, their story, and hopefully it'll be really nice and advisory, lots of tips and lots of info in there. So today I am joined by Holly Fulton, who is an incredible fashion designer, and I wanted to bring her in just to talk about her journey and her life as a fashion designer, hopefully for lots of you guys who may be really interested in that kind of career move. First of all, I just want to say a big thank you to the Marylebone Hotel in London for having us here in this absolutely beautiful Marylebone suite. It's an incredible hotel and I'm so excited that they have partnered with us on this. So we'll make a start. So Holly is a wonderful fashion designer. A lot of you guys will already know of her very bold and beautiful designs. But for anyone else, I kind of want you to introduce yourself and explain about your style of creating, about your journey as a fashion designer.
Gosh, it's a long story.
Okay.
I'll try and give you a synopsis.
Yeah.
Essentially, I'm a women's wear and accessories designer, now based in East London, originally from Scotland. And I guess my journey kind of started with studying women's wear at Edinburgh College of Art.
Right.
I took a very circuitous route to kind of starting my label. I did a lot of different jobs, and a big part of what I would say to people coming into the industry is that it's not always clear cut which route you're going to take or how you're going to get there, but don't kind of give up on your ambition. A lot of the things I did, such as I used to run a gallery, I spent time in Australia, I did a lot of work with voluntary groups, so they kind of all fed into working with people and really helped me when I kind of established my own team when I actually started running a business in London. Eventually I went and studied at the Royal College of Art and did my MA there. And then I was very lucky to be invited to become a part of Fashion East, which is an initiative where 3 new designers are asked to showcase together. You're given a show at London Fashion Week, and it provides a really kind of cushioned platform, if you like, when you're a complete novice, you're quite naive about how these things work. Lulu Kennedy, who runs that, is very much, she's kind of called the fairy godmother of fashion. She sort of helps, these kind of young, clueless designers shape what they have into the foundations of actual fashion labels and businesses.
Right.
So that was a really fantastic introduction for me to that. And that was 10 years ago that started.
And how does that work, Fashionista? How does someone who's new and like aspiring contact Fashionista and get involved in that?
I just sent in my lineup of what I'd done. Prior to that, I was really lucky to work for Lanvin in Paris. So I spent time there doing their embellished women's wear and their accessories. So it kind of given me a bit of a grounding, and I learned a lot about luxury during that time. I learned a lot about how to kind of relate to your clients and to think about what women want to wear and just the composition of collection, really. So I kind of dipped my toe in the world of Paris fashion, and then started working with Swarovski as well at the same time, so doing my own stuff in connection with them. And I wasn't really, to be honest, particularly thinking about starting my own line. I was looking at some quite big jobs that were still based in Paris, and then Lulu had seen my work and I'd sent her some subsequently, and she just said, look, I'd really like you to do this. I had 6 weeks, I think, to make the whole collection for the first one. So it was quite a quick decision. I remember... I think it was literally the 23rd of December I came down to London, bought all the fabrics, and then had 6 weeks to make everything for that first one.
And was that you on your own, or was it a team of
you? It was me on my own, with my mum, my beloved mum, giving me a bit of a hand to make the jewellery. And then I outsourced a little bit of the sewing work, because there was no way that I could condense it into that time. But it was me doing all the pattern cutting and making the majority of things for those kind of first 2 seasons.
Wow.
Which was a bit of a kind of baptism of fire, but I loved what I was doing creatively. I knew I was very lucky to have that opportunity to be a part of this. And I think at the time, it was quite daunting to have such a short time frame, but I knew that if I didn't sort of seize that opportunity, I might never have that moment again. So it was a quick decision that hopefully has paid off for me in the long run.
I mean, how many pieces were in that collection?
It was quite small. I think there was about 14 looks in the first one. So there was maybe about 25 pieces individually, and then a lot of accessories as well to sort of sit alongside that. And Fashionista helped me. They provided me with a studio at the Truman Brewery, because I was living back in Scotland, so I kind of was, well, where do I actually put everything when I come down? Can sleep on a friend's floor, but I can't really bring a whole wardrobe with me. And she set me up with a stylist, hair, makeup, and she connected me with some partners that have become very important, like Christian Louboutin and things like that. So she kind of set up a lot of relationships that I still have today. So it was a really fantastic kind of grounding, if you like. And it's actually nice collectively to show with other people as well. I think it's kind of an exciting way to do that.
Inspiring.
It's a good gentle sort of start, and everyone has very different styles. So it shows you, that you are you're unique, I suppose, in a sense amongst what's happening at that time. But she's very good at kind of curating design talent, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still running now, and it's so incredible, the amount of different designers that have come through. I mean, J.W. Anderson, House of Holland, I mean, there's some incredible designers that have just really needed that little step, and then it's just opened them out to the world. It's wonderful.
It makes life so much easier, because it would have been, if I'd suddenly been like, I want to start a label, I would not have known where to start about how to even apply to London Fashion Week, yet alone, how to get models, how to get that team round about it that is so important to help you kind of realise that complete vision of what you want to do. And just to have some elements of that removed and helped, it made a huge, huge difference.
Yeah, I bet. So with London Fashion Week, I mean, how many years did you show at Fashion Week?
So we showed kind of officially from 2009.
Right.
We started with that. Actually, sorry, it was 2008, because it was autumn winter 2009.
Right.
And then, so we stopped kind of showing conventionally, if you like, in around 2017. So we started doing other things with our brand. So we've always done a lot of collaborations as part of what we do. Because we do women's wear and accessories and print, there's a lot of different strands, if you like, within our kind of signature. And I decided that I wanted to have a little bit more time to focus on some of these collaborative elements, and also to move a little bit into interiors. So we've done a lot of different products. So we had quite often the collaborations we do are not fashion based. So they might be, for example, we've done things with Smythson, we've done a range of stationery for them, projects with Fortnum and Mason, all sorts of different things. So I find that personally really exciting. It's really stimulating as a designer to work in something that you don't have that expertise, but if you collaborate, they have the skill set to finesse what you do and give you a really wonderful end product. So I've always enjoyed that kind of synergy you get when you work with another brand.
Yeah.
So the interiors was something I really wanted to try. I kind of had a long-standing dream to put my patterns on a sofa, because it's the biggest thing that I'd ever had to challenge myself with. So for Spring Summer 18, we actually did show that we sort of created the 360 environment. So we showed at the ICA for Fashion Week with that, and we did sofas, rugs, wallpaper. We have a long-running partnership with John Smedley for knitwear. So
yes, I've seen
that's quite often the kind of core of the collection of what we do.
Right.
But we created everything in the entire room, and that was the sort of start of working in quite a different way for us. Which has been really very, very exciting, and opened kind of a lot of doors in terms of how to move our brand into not exactly a lifestyle brand, but just be perceived in a sort of different light, I guess.
Right. Where can I buy this sofa?
Well,
Are they still
we're
available?
working on that at the moment. That's something that we're kind of building up to, is how to kind of wholesale the collection, think about the kind of the cushions and all the offset elements. Interiors is a very different realm to fashion in terms of how it operates, but very, very amenable and very kind of open to doing sort of different projects. So we worked with different partners for every single thing that we had. So we did rugs with an amazing company in Scotland, and we've kind of made a bit of a commitment to try and do all of our production in the UK.
Oh, fantastic.
From a sort of sustainability point of view. And again, because I enjoy that relationship of working with manufacturers, I want to be able to go there and have that discussion with them, which I can't do so easily if they're in India. But, if they're in Scotland, I can go back. If they're in Manchester, wherever, Derby, then we can go there and have, really good relationships and interaction with them. And I think it's just personally, it's a way that I want to work moving forward. It's a nicer sort of environment to be in.
Right. So when was it that you designed your last clothing collection then?
Ooh, the last kind of full Monty clothing collection, if you like, was probably Autumn Winter 16. And then we've still done 2 collections a year, but in slightly different capacities. So they're kind of, we did have a full collection for Autumn Winter 18. We're working on a project for this summer that's not really based on commerciality. It's a very, very, very creative project that we're doing in collaboration with a sort of long-standing friend of the brand, who works within the kind of beauty sector. So we're really excited about this kind of new way of really showcasing our creative collaborations, because we're super lucky to have worked with some really amazing partners, and we want to do things that allow us a purely creative platform to kind of embrace that relationship, and show sort of what we do in all the different realms. So I do a lot of work in illustration as well, and obviously the print that we use all of that's hand drawn. So that's probably the biggest point of difference with us and other labels that use a lot of digital or screen print. So the fact that we have so much hand generated line and material gives us a real point of difference as a brand. And I want to do more stuff that's bigger scale and kind of embrace that side of things. So we're looking at a lot of different ways of working, and we're still kind of finding our feet as to how to make the whole thing sort of jigsaw together. Because I love high-end fashion, and I love designing those pieces. That's always kind of the root of what's there for me. But I enjoy the challenge of creating, if someone gives me a matchbox and say fit a pattern on that, I like being sort of challenged to fit stuff onto any size of surface. So the more things that we can kind of push into in terms of product categories, the better for us.
So tell me about your team. Like, who is behind the Holly Fulton brand?
Gosh, a motley crew. No, I'm very lucky to have had people all along my sort of journey that have been incredibly supportive. And it's a huge ask, because as you know, fashion is quite a demanding industry. So long hours can be kept. There's a lot of pressure at certain times of year. And to have people that really believe and invest in your creative vision and come on that journey with you is a real privilege. It's something that I never kind of lose sight of, and how lucky I am to have these people that have stuck by us. It's amazing. It makes it, I love what I do, but then it makes it even more fun to have people that are excited and engaged on that journey with you. So I was lucky enough to meet a partner who I managed to rope in to working with me. So my partner, James Lambert, is an illustrator originally, but also a graphic designer. So he then became involved working on the print and sort of the social side of what we do, and just thinking of the brand as a whole. So we kind of creative direct it jointly together now, which has been a really good step, I think. It's really nice to have another voice and another opinion into what you do.
Yeah. Does that kind of give you a little bit extra almost thinking space to think of bigger projects and strategies rather than it all being on you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the more people you can have that to sort of take away any element of what you have to do when you have a sort of whole business, as you'll know, it's quite a lot of aspects that you might not see sort of from the outside, but it's a sort of big machine to keep the whole thing running. So to have that kind of confidence in his understanding of my signature and what we want to do with the brand is really great. So it does alleviate some sort of pressure that you can put on yourself as well creatively to kind of get it right. So it's great to have him as a kind of mainstay of what we do. And then we work with a lot of different people. So we have manufacturers up and down the UK that we've always worked with. We've got core freelancers that we kind of keep it more flexible now, so that if we knew we've got a project coming up, then we can get in. We've got a fantastic studio manager that we've had for a long time that can come in as and when we need her. A great pattern cutter who actually originally studied with at the Royal College of Art.
Really?
He now works with me at CSVPA and teaches cutting there. So it's great to have these people that we can call in and always kind of come back, because they understand your handwriting. It takes a little bit of sort of, not pain out of the process, but if they have a sort of comprehension of how you work and they know sort of your expectations of what you will do at the end, then it makes the whole process run a lot more smoothly.
Yeah, it all comes down to the team, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So you touched on it then about the CSVPA, so the Cambridge School of Visual and Performing Arts.
Yes.
Tell us about your role there, because I think it's just so interesting that you're working there now.
Yeah, so I became head of fashion there about just over 18 months ago. I'd always done a lot of work within education in the UK, so for nearly 20 years. I'm in denial about that. But I'd kind of been involved with different institutions. So it started when I was actually studying a postgrad in Edinburgh after my own degree. I taught the first year then.
Wow.
And I really enjoy the experience of working, as I said, with other people, but to kind of be involved with designers and creatives at the start of that journey when they're kind of untainted by commerciality. They're thinking in a very kind of raw creative mindset. That to me is the most exciting, stimulating thing to be involved with. Absolutely. It keeps you, it reminds you what you love about what you do. It keeps you fresh. It makes you think about your own practice as well. So I was really keen to kind of become more involved, if you like, with an institution where it was on a more permanent basis. So I'd done a lot of work with, I'd been to the Royal College, Epsom, Ravensbourne, a lot of different places, sort of doing bits and pieces of teaching, but not a kind of continuous relationship, if you like. And I do a lot of work with Graduate Fashion Week, so it kind of mentoring and helping sort of some of the winners from that. So it felt like a good fit to do something where I could have more of a solid relationship with an institution and try and build that course up to really provide what I think is important within education within the UK, and focus on things like sustainability, focus on individuality. It's very much about each student as an individual designer and about giving them the time and space to evolve their kind of own handwriting within that.
Yeah.
So we've kind of, it's a very kind of small, quite bespoke atelier type of course, which again is quite a point of difference to a lot of the institutions. There's a lot of students, whereas we kind of really restrict our numbers so that everyone's having a lot of one-to-one tutorial time. They really have the space and time to grow within that 3 years. So it's been quite an exciting kind of transition, and I'm very lucky in that it sits alongside my own practice, so we still have time to do our shows. We can make both things are kind of flexible round about that. So it's been a great sort of evolution for me personally, and also for the brand, just to move into a different sector.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so as you know, so I will be working with the CSVPA. I was trying to get that.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah. So they have an incredible fashion design course. You teach on that course, the fashion design course. Yeah. And they're currently holding a scholarship opportunity. So I will leave all the information down below. If you have a real love and passion for fashion design, and you're interested in getting into that kind of career, and you want to go to a school to learn so much more and to really enhance your skills, then have a look down below. I'll leave all the details there. I'm so excited to be partnering with the school on that, because my audience know I'm a huge ambassador for anything educational, and for really, advocating the idea of going to universities or to schools to really enhance skills and knowledge. So it's just an amazing partnership for me, and I'm really, really excited about it. So I'm going to be there tomorrow, actually, when you are, to see the students. I'm really looking forward to that. But anyway, let's take it back though. Where did you first get your inspiration from? When you were living in Edinburgh, when you grew up, what was kind of your inspiration and love for fashion? Where did it come from?
It came from a few places. I was lucky to have a mother who was quite sort of engaged with fashion. So my mum, she worked within publishing and then ultimately was an art librarian. So I was kind of surrounded by a lot of books growing up. I was surrounded by an awful lot of stuff. My parents are quite extreme sort of hoarders of amazing things. So like there was a lot of colour, pattern. They kind of loved sort of arts and crafts, art deco. So I grew up surrounded by a lot of really amazing objects. There was a lot of kind of visual stimulation within my house.
Right.
And we spent a lot of time sort of going to antique fairs and sort of hunting things out, car boot sales, that kind of stuff. So I kind of grew up with a bit of a magpie mentality, I guess.
Oh, wow.
And that undoubtedly sort of shaped how I kind of approach my collections. We have a lot of kind of quite eclectic sort of sources of research that we kind of look to for inspiration again and again. So I really love Art Deco as a movement. I love the kind of simplicity of line, sort of geometry, the graphicism of it. So I would kind of attribute that to them. And I think also growing up in Scotland, I'm quite a passionate Scot. It was quite important. So there's an amazing sort of design legacy there with people like Charles Rennie Mackintosh, and particularly around that kind of late Victorian period, there was some really important kind of stylistic movements happening, which again, my parents were very interested. So I kind of grew up looking at them on and off, and my dad's from Glasgow, where there was a big scene. There's obviously Glasgow School of Art as well, some amazing architecture, and I think it was quite a rich sort of upbringing in the sense of I saw a lot of things that were quite creatively and intellectually stimulating. At the time, I probably didn't appreciate it very much, but retrospectively, I don't want to look at another building, but it did kind of impact on me. And even down to, we've done a couple of collections that have been inspired by Scottish countryside, and I quite often will look at things that are quite personal in terms of reference. So we did one collection that was based on an experience we had walking in Cairngorm Mountains.
Oh, wow.
I was basically given a row because I was wearing 40 denier tights and a silk skirt. A lot of people were like one-piece kind of thermal outfits, like you shouldn't be out here. I thought maybe we should do something that is actually outdoors, technically correct. So we kind of started looking at the technicalities of military clothing and how to make things that are really properly warm.
I see.
And we lined all the jackets with stiff teddy bear fur and this kind of thing. So it was kind of fun exploring that realm of things that we'd not touched on. But I think there was a lot of things. Also, my mum collected Vogue magazine from the 60s.
Yeah.
So she handed that over to me in the 90s. So we had like all the Vogues from that time. We've got Nova magazine, some really incredible image making from that time. And that undoubtedly had a massive impact on me.
Gosh, where do you have the Vogues now?
They're in my studio now. So we finally got them all down to London eventually.
I bet.
I'm sure they were quite pleased to see the back of them.
That must take the whole lorry load.
Yeah, it was quite a journey.
Wow.
But great to have that kind of resource. And
incredible.
I remember looking at the Novas, and there's images of a model called Verushka in the 60s. She's all painted in the desert, just really abstract, really incredibly creative kind of approach to what was going on in that time.
Wow.
And I think that undoubtedly had quite a big influence on what I like and how I kind of view how we represent our brand in quite a colourful way. It's quite a strong graphic, that kind of thing. Those things I think really kind of came from those early images that I was looking at that time.
Yeah. Gosh, that's amazing. Do you know, often when you ask people about what their inspiration was, they often aren't quite sure. So that was an amazing answer. I don't know where my inspiration really came from in Wigan, to be honest, but I'm sure it must be in there somewhere.
There will be some little influence. And I mean,
Yeah.
I still, if we're doing something, I will still ask my mum. She'll say, what's the collection about? I'll say, it's about hands or whatever the thing is, and she'll pull out what she has at home that might be of interest. So
Gosh, that's brilliant.
I was like, I really quite fancy one of those big DNA models that you get in labs. Like, they're really cool. And she's like, I've got one. And I was like, why have I not seen that? I've been here for 30 years. Gosh. And then, eventually a couple of years later, she produces it, and now I have it in my front room.
Really? I love that, those little hidden gems. So for anyone who really wants to start their own brand, their own fashion line, they've got so much passion for it, they've got a real idea and a real eye, what do you think are the key steps that they should maybe take? I mean, I know it's a hard question, but what do you think are the key steps that they will need to go down?
I think the very first thing you have to do, it might not seem the most exciting thing to do, and I didn't really do it at the start, that's why I'm advocating this, is to have a very, very clear strategy of what your brand proposition is.
Right.
So it's kind of good to have quite a narrow concept. There tends to be a bit of a feeling that you have to, in terms of us, because we do accessories and clothing, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every season. It's very good to have a consistent sort of signature or consistent product that your label is based around.
Right.
So I think don't feel the pressure to constantly evolve the silhouette. It's good, again, to have these things that repeat. So customers probably need about 18 months to 2.5 years to get used to you as a brand. So it's a kind of slow evolution, and that's better for you in terms of business longer time. But be in it kind of for the long haul, and appreciate that you're not going to have much time. You're probably not going to have much money for the first sort of bit of it. But it's important to do that kind of groundwork to kind of get your signature established really in the kind of commercial psyche, if you like.
Right, okay.
I think have a kind of awareness of cash flow. Again, it's not the kind of sexy side of the industry.
No.
And I was very lucky to become part of an initiative called the CFE that we got a supported studio for 2 years, and they have advisors that do your cash flow with you every month, and you're doing a business plan constantly. Always have a business plan rolling.
Right.
You never know, you may not need money at the start, but you may probably at some point will need to, either for funding or if you need loans, etc., present that. So things that apart from the creative side, obviously you've got to have a brilliant idea. You've got to have a point of difference with your aesthetic.
Right.
And I think you have to be very confident within that. You're going to have to talk about it a lot. You're going to have to wear it a lot, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I wear a lot of my own work, because if I wouldn't wear it, why would I expect anyone else to wear it?
Absolutely, yeah.
So you have to have a real belief in what you do and be able to kind of be quite confident about that. You can't be shy about making the most of that 1 minute that you have with the head of Kering or whoever it is.
Absolutely.
You've got to grasp those opportunities and, be able to summarise what you do quite succinctly to kind of get that into their mindset. And don't be shy about establishing quite a big network. I think for me, a lot of the people that I met when I was studying, so a lot of people that I met when I was at the RCA, we maintained contact, and we can share a lot of contacts and manufacturers, and you absolutely never know where people are going to end up working.
No.
So I think it's very important to always keep a track of that, maintain your relationships. So put in the time throughout your journey, no matter what happens, to kind of update people on where you're at.
Yeah.
I would say if you don't ask, you don't get. So,
no, it's so true, though.
definitely if you want to collaborate with someone, if there's things you need or you're interested in, just engage and ask. And I would say getting mentors is also very, very important. I was incredibly lucky to be mentored by some amazing people along my journey. Sarah Moore kind of mentored me when I was still at the Royal College, and I can still ask her questions now. It's really fantastic to have those kind of sounding boards within different areas of industry. So, and personally, I do that for newer designers and graduates and things like that now, and it's a very rewarding relationship. It's really exciting for people that are already quite far down in their career journey to still have that engagement. So I think don't be shy to ask people that you might think are maybe out of your reach. If you can catch their eye and just have a couple of meetings, then they can feed into you and give you new information and advice on your product. It's a really important part of the relationship.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Gosh, that's the most incredible advice. Thank you. And honestly, I could talk to you for hours. So much info. It's honestly brilliant. So, just to wrap this up, what is next for you?
Well, $24 million question.
Yeah.
We've got quite a lot on the cards. We've got quite a big lifestyle collaboration coming out in sort of September, October this year with quite a big brand that we're excited about. Mm-hmm. So that's touching on product categories that we've never been in before. So that's a really sort of exciting move for us. We're also doing a show of our own. Again, this is the start of a new sort of creative series of projects. So this is purely about our collaborations with some of our amazing creative partners and showcasing them in a kind of 360 environment that shows some of the different things we do as a brand and also different things that I do as a designer.
Right.
So that's going to be around June, July sort of time. That's currently pressing. I've got a lot of work to do for that. Obviously, with CSVPA, we've got the end of year show with the students there. Mm-hmm. We've got Graduate Fashion Week. We'll be kind of setting them up to move off into industry or, whatever they desire next. So there's a lot of time spent helping them tailor their portfolios to what they would like to be their next career move. They might want to do MAs, so kind of a lot of advising on that sort of capacity. Yeah. I'm hoping to have a cheeky holiday at some point.
Absolutely, you deserve one.
If I can cram that in.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
We'll see what we can do. We do a lot of work with like V&A Dundee as well in Scotland, so hoping to kind of keep the relationship running with them and talk about future projects. So never a dull moment.
No, and the sofa's coming out.
And the sofas, all working on all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got so much on, and I think it's really inspiring as well for aspiring designers to see that it isn't just one route. You can have all these other ideas and strategies and passion projects that you can work on in the future. I think it's just really inspiring to see that. So thank you so much for taking your time out. You're such a busy lady. So thank you so much for taking this time. It's been so interesting, and I really hope you guys have found this so useful as well. I know I have. So thank you so much to Holly for taking the time out for this. And thank you again to the Marylebone Hotel for hosting us in this absolutely beautiful suite. I'll leave details down below as well for the hotel if you're interested in coming along. But I really hope you enjoyed this, guys. Let me know. I'd love to hear your comments and a bit of a discussion down below in the comments about what you thought and if you're excited about the series. And if you're brand new, do hit the subscribe button. I'll leave all of Holly's information down below as well if you want to find out even more and to find out about the sofa. And thank you so much for being here. I'll see you soon. Bye.